I'm Jane Drury, and I'm an announcer this year for Upward Basketball and Cheerleading. My husband Tim is the Upward League Director here at FBC Bethalto. We have two kids. Ella is 10 and Charlotte is 6. They're crazy, amazing, wonderful, very loud, great kids. But our story with them is a little bit different than most. So when Ella was born, she was diagnosed with a disease called cystic fibrosis. CF, as it's often called, is a life-threatening genetic disease that affects about 30,000 people in America. It affects mainly the lungs and the digestive system. The average lifespan of somebody in America with CF is about 38 years old. Ella was diagnosed shortly after birth, as well as Charlotte, our second child. She was diagnosed with CF as well, just a few weeks into her new life. As of yet, there is no cure for CF. We're really excited about lots of medical advances and progress that's being made in that area, but there's no cure yet. So as of right now, all of the medicines and treatments that we do every day are aimed at managing the symptoms and slowing the progression of the disease. And that is a lot of what our day consists of on a regular basis. We do a lot of medicines and a lot of treatments, a lot of things to keep their airways clear and to keep them healthy. Some days it's fine and it's just routine and we just take care of it, and other days it gets really tiring and it can be really hard. It can be really hard to see your kids in pain. And that's one of the biggest struggles, I think, that I face as a mom is I think any parent wonders what their child is going to grow up to be, what they're going to do when they get older. And some days I just wonder if my kids are going to grow up, if they're going to get that chance. Are they going to go to college? Are they going to get married? Am I going to be a grandma? Who's going to take care of us when we're old and senile? Because I totally plan on becoming senile, and so I need someone to take care of me. When I get too focused on the future and I forget that no one's promised the future, no one's promised tomorrow, and I forget to focus on what's right here in front of me, which is two beautiful girls, then I can get a little bit overwhelmed. I'm 38 years old, and that's the average lifespan of someone with CF. I want my girls to have an amazing life. I want them to lead a long and full life. But we're not promised that. Two things that God has shown me in all of this is that sometimes our children are given to us to help transform us and make us look more like Christ. All kids need a parent, but I think a lot of times their impact on us is even bigger than they could ever imagine. In all of this, God is still good. He's still sovereign. This didn't surprise him. You know, we live in a world that's hard and broken, and there's disease, and relationships fall apart, and there's pain and there's suffering. That's the reality. But it doesn't change the reality of who he is. He's still good. He's still in control. And because I trust him, I trust that this life, even though it's full of pain and suffering, is the best one. The purpose of life is not what I once thought it was. I once thought the purpose of life was just to pursue happiness and comfort and pleasure and safety and security. There's nothing wrong with those things. There's nothing wrong with being comfortable and not having pain. But that's not the goal of life. The goal of life is to make much of Christ. The goal of life is to make much of him, regardless of if I'm in pain or suffering. Sometimes we even do that better in the midst of pain. My oldest daughter, Ella, was in the hospital a couple of years ago and was speaking with one of the nurses, as she always does. And the nurse was asking her what she wanted to do when she grew up. And Ella rattled off about 12 different things that she wanted to do because she's going to hold about 15 different jobs at once. And I have no doubt that she will. And then Ella got done rattling off her list, and then she stopped and she said, well, no matter what I do, I just want to glorify God, because that's why we're here. And in that moment, I realized she gets it. She gets what life's about. The goal is not to live without pain. The goal is not to suffer. Nobody would want those things naturally, but we can't run away from them and we can't shy away from them. We can't change our lives that way, and I don't think that I would want to. Because for all of the heartache, it's the most beautiful life I could ever imagine. We have an awesome life, we really do. We have 2 amazing girls. And I guess what we've learned through a lot of this is no matter how many days we have on this earth, no matter what pain we may have to go through while we're here, we hope at the end to say that we made it about Christ and not about ourselves.